Once again, thank you, Sakya friends and all the network of friends and volunteers and translators for hosting this event, the second part of the Heart Sutra teachings. So once again, thank you, everybody. We will start off by doing the Refuge prayer, which will be screen shared. That is to remember your refuge in the Triple Gem and commitment to practice bodhicitta in order to realize the meaning of Heart Sutra and ultimate bodhicitta. So join your hands at the heart and do the prayers. Oyenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Aitere Yete Laitama Bhavachu Ajivandala Ashare Buddha Utuve and the Buddha Dharma Sangha Aitere Yete Laitama Bhavachu Ajivandala Ashare Buddha Utuve and the Buddha Dharma Sangha Aitere Yete Laitama Bhavachu Ajivandala Ashare Buddha Utuve. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that know no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those never. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that know no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those never. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far, according to the intelligence and predisposition of it. Where the Yatanda Dharma Agrelo Come Vigo. So welcome back, everyone. If you have been in this first teaching last night, we are doing the second half of the teaching on Heart Sutra. I have also been requested to give the oral transmission of the Heart Sutra as well as the Repelling of Obstacles text. This we cover in the teaching. So I will do the oral transmission in the middle of the session so that people can, and particularly our hardworking translator will have a break. And also it is a sort of a break for you because oral transmission doesn't need any understanding. You just sit and listen. So therefore, therefore it will be saving time while you all have break, and I also have a break, not having to speak but to read the Heart Sutra. So we're going to do that. Yesterday's teaching on Heart Sutra, we covered the meaning of the title as well as the 5 perfect factors, of which the first 4 are general perfect factors: time, teacher, place, and the audience who attended the Heart Sutra teachings. And then the 5th perfect factor, extraordinary factor, is the actual perfection of wisdom, Prajnaparamita, the 25-verse long synthesis of the entire corpus of the teachings on perfection of wisdom, the longest of which is found in 100,000 verses or 12 volumes. The middle length version is 25,000 verses in 4 volumes, and the shortest version is 8,000 verses in 1 volume. And even more synthesis of all of the above is captured in the Heart Sutra in 25 verse, which is on two pages. 2 pages. So we covered the first, the meaning of perfection wisdom, about the 5 perfect factors, which covers the prologue or background of how the teaching of Heart Sutra happened, where, when, and who, by, and what was the teaching. So we covered that yesterday. Then the actual teaching itself was prompted through the blessings of the Buddhas entering into the meditation, and during which he blessed Shariputra as the questioner and Avalokiteshvara as the responder. And the whole conversation took place between Avalokiteshvara, a bodhisattva, and Buddha's most intelligent disciple, Shariputra. So this is talking about 2,500 years ago, a deity talking to Buddha's disciple monk. So we are actually come a long way to remember what they did. And Buddhist people have been very faithful to record every word these 2 great beings spoke and Buddha endorsed, and then committed to writing, memory, and then written and translated into many languages. And we can appreciate how important the Heart Sutra is. By the way, how our East Asian Buddhist countries like Japan and China and Korea and Vietnam and a number of other Mahayana Buddhist countries, Tibet is of course included, then hardly any teaching session begins without reciting the Heart Sutra. So that shows how important it is. So that's why the Heart Sutra is very important. And so but the interesting thing about that, it was a conversation that took place between these 2 great beings, caused by the Buddha himself through his profound meditation. So that was how the teaching was prompted. Then the main teaching is the ascertaining the nature of perfection of wisdom, Bhagavati Prajnaparamita, the mother. One who understands the meaning of the perfection of wisdom becomes the mother who will give birth to enlightenment. So the knowledge of perfection of wisdom is likened to a mother. If you don't have a mother, if the woman is barren, she could not give birth. We are all barren unless you understand teaching of perfection of wisdom. Once you comprehend and understand and meditate and realize the meaning of the perfection of wisdom and emptiness as the great kind of medicine, panacea to relieve the suffering of sentient beings, then we can be the doctor or the mother who gives birth to the enlightened child, or the doctor who can heal all the sufferings of the world beings. So therefore, the main teaching is the ascertaining the nature of perfection wisdom. One, by explicitly talking about emptiness, and the second is implicitly talking about the nature of the mind. Last night we talked about the explicit teaching on emptiness by discussing how all the experiences are revealed by making the four valid points. The form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. And emptiness is none other than form. And then form is none other than emptiness. Learning to use these four valid points to everything, from form to feeling to perception to volition and consciousness, with all the five aggregates, we will be able to experience ourselves. The form is form that appears is not truly existing as appears, like the moon's reflection in the water. The moon's reflection in the water is a form that appears in the water. Those who do not scrutinize the fact carefully, they will say there is a moon in the water. But those who know that it is only a reflection do not regard that the moon is in the water. For them, the form is emptiness. But for those who don't know, the moon is in the water is only a reflection, and think the moon in the water is actual moon, they think the form is real. And so actually its emptiness self manifests as a form to them. But for the wise, it is the form itself is emptiness. So these valid points about the form is emptiness, emptiness form, emptiness is no other than form, and form is not other than emptiness, is the first of the first four valid points. This is mainly necessary for people on the path of accumulation and path of preparation. These are two very fundamental stages how a Mahayana aspirant develops on the path, step by step. We have to accumulate merit. Unless we have merit, we could not fathom, comprehend, understand emptiness, even conceptually, let alone realization. But those who accumulate good deeds and have faith in the Buddha, take refuge in the Triple Gem, and generate bodhicitta and kind to sentient beings, even if you meditate, even if you observe disciplines, even if you practice patience, you mainly make sure that this is all done lovingly and for the kindness and for the benefit of all sentient beings. So when we have this kind of goodness or meritorious, merit means positive quality, positive, tender, loving care, TLC they call in English-speaking world, tender, loving care. If we can practice this in everyday life, it is a meritorious, very positive. So if you have this stock of merit, if you have a habit of being able to do this, which quite a lot of people have the good reserve of merit, which enables them to do. So that's the only beginning of the beginner's path of accumulation, maybe intermediate path of accumulation. But for the advanced path of accumulation, they have to make sure they're not attached to the objects of love or generosity they show to, but rather without any grasping to the object or recipient of your love, not out of bias, not out of attachment, not out of desire, but due to genuine loving kindness. Then we realize, oh, all the loving kindness and meritorious practice I did was out of attachment. Oh, then they learn to let go of this attachment and see the poison in the food that we are feeding sentient beings, if we attach to them or if we expect something in return. So those practitioners slowly gain what is called path of advanced accumulation of merit. And in this way, slowly advanced path of accumulation moves to path of preparation, during which they have a conceptual understanding of emptiness. And so that's what we covered yesterday. Then the second segment we covered is how does this nature of the mother of perfection wisdom can be further boosted understanding through the eightfold profound realization. So this is what we covered yesterday. That's just a short, I don't know how short it is because it always looks short to me, short recap of what we discussed yesterday's teachings. In usual Tibetan Buddhist tradition, they will give a number of revisions before they move on to the next topic. So that will do. Now, so that's the first 2 points. How all experience reveal the 4 valid points, and how eightfold profound realization can become part of path of seeing. So that covers the first 3 paths: path of accumulation, path of preparation, and path of seeing, insight. And then now we go into the move to the 4th one. In your outline is the 4th one, is path of meditation. This is a path of practitioners who have already realized emptiness, not just conceptually, but deep, already first bhumi onwards. So that's why we are now going to talk about how such a practitioner becomes liberated from holding to samsara as well as nirvana as an object. Neither they hold samsara as object to run away from, nor they are seeking to gain nirvana as object to get. So there is no object to abandon, no object to get, because they are now liberated from object of destination and place of departure. There's no good samsara, bad samsara to abandon, no good nirvana to be attained, because they both are empty of inherent existence. So it is in that state, the path of meditation, bodhisattvas, on the path of first bhumi onwards are always in that meditative state. So this has 7 points. Yeah, liberation from, firstly, the liberation from the 5 aggregates, which is very much a reiteration of what we discussed yesterday. Therefore, going back to the Heart Sutra, it says, therefore, Shariputra, here Avalokiteshvara once again endearingly calls the name of the venerable monk Shariputra. Shariputra is already realized Aratya. So that Shariputra is not, these things are not new to Shariputra. But Shariputra is taking the role of us, asking the question for the benefit of all sentient beings. So Avalokiteshvara is speaking to Shariputra, saying that those who have gained liberation due to the 8 profound realization would be remaining in the conduct of discerning and experiencing the profound, the profound realization of emptiness. For them, there is no form, there is no feeling, there is no perception, there is no volition, there is no consciousness. So therefore, they are completely liberated. They are completely liberated from the 5 aggregates because for them, the appearance of forms such as visual objects or auditory sound or whatever, even though they may hear, even those things appear, they see them as empty of the appearances. Empty appearances. And so even though things manifest, people being kind to them or people being rude to them, it doesn't make any difference to them because they know from the appearance itself lack the reality. The moon in the water is no proof of moon in the water, but it's exactly opposite is the revelation. So because of that, for such yogis who are in that meditative state, from the point of view of emptiness, the emptiness is manifesting as a form, as well as a feeling, as well as perception, as well as each of the 5 aggregates. But those who realize that there is no real form in the form, and so on. So that is the first liberation. Liberation from the 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates. Now the second one is the liberation from the 6 sense faculties. 6 sense faculties, of course, our Heart Sutra says there is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. So basically, no head. Much easier to say no head, you know. There's a story about a Tibetan monk chanting the Heart Sutra upstairs every morning, and then he said a neighbor downstairs can't stand the monk so early in the morning chanting this list of no this, no that. And he always got annoyed. One day he paid attention very carefully what the hell he's talking about. And then he heard these 6 no's, you know. And then he went upstairs, knocked the door of the monk. He says, why the hell you have to list all the 6? You just say no head. So that's why basically liberation from 6 sense faculties, which means there is no eye as it truly exists, and so on. No ear means that you don't, even if people show something, you don't see it truly existing, because your eye consciousness do not operate or does not see it as truly existing. So therefore your eye and ear and nose and tongue and body and mind, you're liberated from that. You're liberated from, say, out of sight, out of mind, I call it. You can call out of hearing, out of mind, out of smell, out of taste, out of touch, all out of mind. Basically, that's what it is. If you have the great meditative state of a bodhisattva dwelling on the first stage, then even you see, it doesn't bother you, because you know your eyes do not. You do not have eye. You know, there's no eye sense organs, so you get liberated from that. And now these are we are simply talking about it, but these are way beyond our realization. Certainly for me. Even His Holiness Dalai Lama says, oh, he hopes that he may one day realize path of preparation. You know, this is way lower than this level, you know. So we can discuss these conceptually, but our ability to realize these things are not sufficiently there due to our inadequacies and lack of merit and wisdom. So it's good to accept the level that we have not become liberated. So liberated from 6 sense faculty. That's the second one. Third is liberation from 6 sense objects. 6 sense objects are, there is no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no phenomena. So these are 6 sense objects of the 6 sense organs. Because if you don't have if you have no sense organs, how could you have 6 sense objects? You know, 6 sense objects. So therefore, it's just automatically it is liberated, because people who don't have eyes, they don't see forms. Yeah. So therefore, the form, however beautiful they are, they cannot tell how beautiful they are, because there is no eye. So therefore, one who is liberated from grasping to eye sense organ as self and mind, when they don't have the eye sense organ, of course they cannot complain about the forms being tall or big or small or near or far, you know, let alone good or bad. So therefore, deep meditative conduct of one who knows emptiness, for the yogis in the meditative path of meditation, they do not have sense objects to complain about or to crave for. Amazing. So when we do the meditation, we are trying to deify ourselves with this understanding, and then see no, see no form, or hear no abuse, because you simply haven't got the sense organ, no sense objects. So that's the third one. Fourth one is liberation from the 18 elements. The 18 elements is captured in your next paragraph. There is no I element. I element means I consciousness. And so forth means auditory consciousness, yeah, olfactory consciousness, and gustatory consciousnness, and tactile consciousness, and mental consciousness. So if you add those six sense organs, six sense objects, and six sense consciousness, these are 18 elements. So you get liberated from 18 elements. Sanskrit they call ayatanas. Ayatana means that which gives rise to. So you could not see, the form does not arise to you if you don't have the eye consciousness, eye organ, and eye consciousness. So they are all mutually dependent. So these are the first four liberations. First four liberation. This first four liberation is in the conduct of the mind of the yogi who realize emptiness. They are always in the meditative state of emptiness. Yeah, so it is referring to that. Then the fifth one is liberation from the 12 interdependent 12 interdependent origination. Now for this, your text, Heart Sutra says, there is no ignorance, yeah, and no exhaustion of ignorant, and so forth. There is no aging and death, and no exhaustion of aging and death. So those two sentences captures the important concept of liberation from the 12 interdependent origination. Now let me explain this a little bit in detail. So it means that from the conduct of one who is in the meditative state of discerning emptiness of all things, the 12 links of interdependent origination do not truly exist. Truly exist. For them, there is no ignorance, let alone all the other 11 consequences of ignorance. Because if there is no ignorance, then ignorance could not cause, non-ignorance could not cause a result of ignorance, you see. So, but of course, in the hidden meaning of emptiness, the hidden meaning of emptiness, mostly meaning of emptiness is hidden to most people. So because it's hidden from knowing emptiness of all things, they're ignorant that things are empty, yeah. So therefore, we can look at these 12 links of interdependent origination in a forward order and a reverse order. Forward order is the starting from ignorance, yeah, starting from ignorance. So when we talk about ignorance, we're talking about how ignorance caused the 12 links of interdependent origination of samsara. When we talk about liberative art of interdependent origination, we're talking about how non-ignorance could not cause the 11 other causations. So that achieves the nirvana. For instance, the first one, once on pure nature of the mind, yeah, which is naturally pure mind, even though it is intrinsically pure, and but not knowing that the self is never born, never exists, not knowing the nature of the emptiness of self, we are ignorant that self was not even produced, didn't create. Due to the not seeing the emptiness of the self, ignorance of that, it then creates the volition. The volition creates action. Volition means mental formation, yeah? We create mental formation. We are always mental forming, yeah? You also, I'm trying to help you to make some mental formation right now. mental formation now. And so as you accumulate mental formation, the mental formation due to ignorance creates this mental habituation, and this mental formation then manifests on the consciousness as imprint. So consciousness become completely marred by the mental formations. So therefore consciousness become influenced by the mental formations, and then the consciousness then become cognizant of whether this is yellow or white or red or blue or good or bad. All this discrimination appears in this is what means consciousness. Consciousness become conscious of near, far, tall, short, hot, cold, can translate, cannot translate. All these things is your consciousness, mental formation. You're believing you can't translate. You're believing you can translate. And so these are the third link. Third link is mental formation, such as, oh, he is near, or he is far. This kind of mental cognition becomes then name and form. Because name and form means your 5 aggregates, which is the form is the first 4 aggregates, and the name is the fifth aggregate, which is the consciousness. So then you are able to, the name and form is caused by the mental consciousness, and consciousness instrumental formation causes the 6 sense faculties. Yeah, 6 sense faculties, which is the 6 sense faculties. The 6 sense faculties, or which means 6 sense objects, and then causes the contact. Your eye sense faculty contacts form, ear sense faculty contacts sound, and so on. So they become the contact. As soon as you have contact, then they become feeling. Yeah. So feeling arises due to contact. So this is very important. I make this analogy, if you don't mind. People say I'm lonely. They feel lonely. Why? They're contacting bad thoughts. They're thinking, bad thought thinking, nobody loves me. I have no one. By making these thoughts, and then they become lonely. So feeling does not come from by itself. Feeling comes from contact. So feeling is produced due to contact. So therefore, as soon as you develop contact, with eye contact, form and ears, the sound and so on, then you experience feeling. As soon as you get feeling, you know what happens? You develop craving for the feeling. Then the craving is caused by the feeling, if it's a pleasant one. If it's unpleasant feeling, you have craving against the feeling. So it's craving. As soon as you have craving, the craving causes the wanting to be reborn. So all of us are born in this world and life because of our craving as a pardo being, pardo sentient being, craving, and then we conceive in the mother's womb. And that's why, because of craving, there is a becoming. Becoming, yeah? As soon as becoming, then you get a body, yeah? And then when you have body is formed in the mother's womb due to the craving, and then you are born, yeah? So as soon as you're born, they don't say how young it is. He said how old it is. Then there is aging. So there is aging. Birth causes aging, and then aging may cause straight away death. To some cases, others have death, sickness. So this is how the forward causation of samsara due to ignorance. So that's the 12 links of interdependent origination in the forward samsaric way. The second is how we can undo this. This is very important. This second one is a liberative interdependent origination of attaining nirvana. Yeah, liberation from the 12 links of interdependent origination. So how do you achieve this? Now listen to this carefully, if I can explain slowly. After listening to the meaning of the Heart Sutra, you have heard the pith instruction of the nature of the profound meaning of Heart Sutra, you say, so therefore you realize there is nothing to know that truly exists. Because you're aware there's nothing to know that truly exists, you're not ignorant. Because you're not ignorant, you are not going to hear any mental formation due to lack of ignorance. So there is no mental formation. Due to no mental formation, your consciousness is empty of any contents. So pot is empty. Pot is empty because there's no content. So consciousness is pure light. Because the consciousness is empty, it does not cause the formation of name and form. It doesn't take the 5 aggregates. Because of that, it has no 5 sixth sense organs. If it doesn't produce 6 sense organs, it does not has no contact with any form. So no contact, no feeling, no feeling, no craving, no becoming. No becoming, no birth, no illness or aging or death. So therefore, this is what we call, once you, for those bodhisattvas dwelling on the path of meditation, they can see the lack of inherent existence of self. Because they are not ignorant about that, they are liberated from the interdependent origination of samsara. So they have instead attained nirvana. So that is the attainment of nirvana by learning how to do the meditation on the 12 links of interdependent origination. So that's the 5th one. 6th one is so from the 6th one onwards. Now from here onwards, the path goes to path of normal learning. Path of normal learning, which is the 5th and the last path, yeah? Of course, we wouldn't know, and I wouldn't actually know how to explain very much, the demarcation between the path of meditation and path of normal learning, except what here the Heart Sutra helped us to go. And that is the 6th one. 6th one is liberation from 4 noble truths. Yeah, liberation from 4 noble truths. And then in your Heart Sutra it says, in the same way. In the same way means in the same way as you have become liberated from the first 5 liberations. Also, there is no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation, no path. So this means there is no 4 noble truth. So what does this mean is, in the conduct of a profound meditation on emptiness, yeah, if you have, then all 3 types of suffering, suffering of change, and all pervasive conditioning suffering. All of this suffering, do not truly exist. There is no suffering, full stop. Because suffering is a result of contaminated actions and afflictions. And so therefore there is no origin of suffering. No wonder there is no suffering, because there is no origin. You can't, because if there is no rain, there is no leak in the roof. It's so simple. Even though roof has got a hole, but it's not because roof has a hole, because it's not raining. So it's like that. So no suffering, no origin, full stop. And no cessation, because there's no need to seize the problem that you don't exist, and no need to follow the path. So that's why there is no truth of suffering, no truth of origin that truly exists, no truth of cessation that truly exists, and also no truth of path that truly exists. So this is very profound realization. It's only path of normal learning. So now then you don't have to learn any method to relieve suffering, because suffering doesn't exist. You don't have to follow path, because path is not necessary, because there's no job, no job to be done. So what does this mean is, in the kind of a state of mind of the practitioner who is dwelling in the conduct of a profound meditation emptiness, the truth of suffering, which is the result, and truth of origin, which is the cause, are both samsaric level. And then truth of cessation and truth of path as a cause and result, because the truth of cessation is the result and truth of path is the cause. These two is a nirvana. So both samsara and nirvana also do not truly exist at all. One to abandon, another to acquire, does not truly exist. So that is the conduct of one who is in the meditative state of emptiness. And the last but not least of these 7 liberation is the liberation from form and wisdom. Form means kaya. Kaya, yeah? We have rupa kaya and dharma kaya concept. Form, liberation from needing to attain kaya and the wisdom. So back to the Heart Sutra, it says, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. So that finishes that paragraph. Meaning that in the intrinsic nature of the purity of your awareness of the mind, that is in the state of the awareness of the emptiness of all things, there is nothing to know, there's no act of knowing, there's nothing to know about. Therefore, no exalted wisdom. So there is no exalted wisdom because there is no knower, no knowing, no objective to know. So that's why it says this wisdom is not in your mental continuum, because you don't have wisdom. Therefore, it says no exalted wisdom. When you don't have any, when you don't have any exalted wisdom, then there is no attainment. You don't say, I attain Buddhahood. You don't say, I attain Buddhahood, because there's nothing to attain, you know. Because people who never went to school, they never have to say, I passed high school, you know. They never went to high school. It's very good, I think. Those who went to high school, they think they make a big deal. I went to high school, I went to uni. Those who never went to uni, they never have to say, when I graduated. So therefore, there is no attainment. And not because there is no attainment, there is no attaining. There is no one, no self. And no non-attainment, yeah? Non-attainment. The fact that a person didn't have any attainment, you know, when you say attainment, meaning, you know, attainment doesn't mean, when you say you become Buddhahood, means you will become a Buddha with big nose and long earlobed ears. People think that's, he got a really long earlobe after attainment. No, that's not result of that's just a manifestation of the good hearing. So you're listening, wait until you listen so much until your earlobe become long and touch on your shoulders. So you wouldn't think that's attainment, will you? Yeah. So that concludes the first part of the teaching, which is the explicit meaning of emptiness. Explicit meaning of emptiness. Now we come to the explicit meaning of the nature of the mind. Because if you talk about emptiness of things, what is it all about? Who is knowing the emptiness of things? We say, my mind. Now we have to say, what is really showing is that implicitly it is showing the emptiness of your mind. Now this is the commentator, Ngutu Palmer's commentary only shows this. There's no wording in the reading of the Heart Sutra. Okay, there's no wording on the Heart Sutra. So I'm going to explain a little bit before the reading the transmission on this. The implicit nature of the mind means on the hidden clear, luminous and awareness nature of mind. Now means, now look into your mind. Look into your mind. Subjectively look into this hidden, luminous, clear awareness of your mind. So if you really look at this carefully, instead of looking at the moon now, look at the awareness that is the moon. Look at the awareness of the moon. So the awareness of the moon is the mind, isn't it? Awareness of the moon, form of the mind is the moon, is the mind. It's not the moon. So therefore, instead of saying form is emptiness, you said form is mind. Instead of saying emptiness is form, saying form is mind. Emptiness, form is mind, emptiness is mind. Form is no other than mind, mind is no other than form. Do you get it? And so you apply that with all 5 aggregates, all 6 sense organs, all 6 sense objects, all 18 constituent, all 12 links of interdependent origination, then you are truly meditating on the essence of Heart Sutra, because it is enabling you to subjectively meditate on the hidden meaning of the nature of your mind. Because mind is hidden. You can't use camera or microscope or something to in aid to see the mind. Mind could not be seen any objectively, but subjectively, it is that very mind that says the form is emptiness. And then how about the mind is emptiness, and emptiness is the mind, and emptiness is no other than the mind. Mind is no other than the emptiness. So doing this kind of meditation is a very, very profound one. So I leave you to it, because here Shantideva says, all the burning iron ground in the hell realms, who created them? They created them. Is there any geographically created hell realms that we can go and visit? I can use the modern analogy of, is the hell realm GPSable? No, you can't GPS hell realms. I don't think Google can find GPS hell realm. Who? So Shantideva says, who created the burning iron ground? To whom does the burning flames of hellfire appears? All of these hell and burning iron grounds of the hell realm is a projection of the mind of wrong views, ill will and hatred. So it's a mental manifestation of hate and ill will of the individual. So this shows that the form is not in the form is in the thought of the mind who thinks of the form. So they say in the Western saying, if you can translate, beauty is an eye of the beholder. I think Buddhism would not say that. There's a Buddhism, beauty is in the mind of the beholder. Then we will say, there is only not even mind in the mind. That's what in the Samadhi Raja Sutra says, the mind is not to be found in the mind. Nature of the mind is merely luminous emptiness. So that's why mind is emptiness, emptiness is mind. Mind is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than mind. And then you can say that feeling is mind, mind is feeling, feeling is no other than mind, mind is no other than feeling. Now you can use that, mind is perception, perception is mind, perception is no other than your mind, mind is no other than the perception. Now this is the implicit nature of the mind. Explicit is the form is emptiness and so on. So how did you go with that? It's a pretty good job, really, if you can think of that. Also it says that beside this precious, realizing the precious and empty nature of the mind, there is neither samsara, Buddha, nor sentient being. It is only the very nature of the mind who realizes it, who doesn't. One who doesn't realize is an ordinary sentient being. One who realizes is the enlightened one. So it constitutes to knowing the emptiness of the mind. If you look at the very intrinsic nature of clear and knowing nature of the mind, it is not. You cannot say it's my mind is yellow, or it's a 70-year-old, or old, or Asian, or male, or female, or this profession. No, you can't. So as soon as you come down, you reduce to the nature of the mind, it completely fuses with the one taste nature of the emptiness of all things. That's why Nagarjuna says, there is nothing among the phenomena that is not product of dependent origination. Whatever is a production of dependent origination there are no phenomena that is not emptiness. So the emptiness, whatever is empty of inherent existence, and empty of therefore the production came a result of dependent origination. All the 84,000 articles and discourses given by Buddha were all given for the very purpose of us being able to realize nature of our own mind, which is neither Asian, nor German, nor tall, nor short, no age. You can't tell the age or size or shape. It's totally empty. So entire Buddha Dharma is taught for one and only purpose, to see the reality as it is. So that will do for that section. Now we come to the fourth subtopic. The fourth subtopic is instruction how to practice perfection wisdom. Now, if you have understood the above meaning of the perfection of wisdom, then how do we practice it? How should you and I practice Heart Sutra? People read Heart Sutra, people clap hands, and so on. But is that the real practice of Heart Sutra? How should you practice Heart Sutra or perfection of wisdom? And then it says, therefore, Shariputra, because bodhisattvas have no attainment, bodhisattvas have no attainment, they depend on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Bodhisattvas don't need attainment because they're always abiding and relying upon the understanding of the perfection of wisdom. So beside meditating on the emptiness, there is no attainment, and so therefore you too should use the perfection of wisdom as your profound deity. Deity means friend. You should remember perfection of wisdom. If you remember a friend, it's very good. You should feel lonely when you don't remember emptiness. Oh gosh, I don't remember emptiness. I feel so lonely. Very good. I feel so lonely. Why? I don't remember emptiness. Very good. Don't you think? This is a very useful loneliness, that one. You should feel very lonely. I feel so lonely because I don't realize emptiness. If you realize emptiness, you are depending on the very mother that all the past Buddhas meditated, all future Buddhas will meditate and teach, and the present Buddhas are meditating on their emptiness. And that's why it says they depend on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. So therefore, calling Shariputra's name, that now that I have explained all the above, you too should from now on always meditate on emptiness. Means always remember emptiness of things. Emptiness of things doesn't mean nihilistically. Things that still appear, but they don't exist permanently, independently, and inherently from its own side. And therefore, you release your grasping and attachment as they are truly existing. And that gives the space that you usually beg others, give me some space. The emptiness is the space provider. And emptiness is very spacious. Emptiness doesn't start here and finish here. You don't have to ask people to move. Emptiness is infinite. So therefore, you have to depend on you have to know how to meditate on emptiness. Even when you do deity yoga, it is emptiness yoga. But to prevent you from falling into nihilism, therefore form is introduced with one face, with two hands, and so on and so forth. All of these are visual dharma so that you don't fall into nihilism of emptiness, but otherwise to make you vast and infinitely spacious understanding of the emptiness. So that's why it says that that you should meditate. You should rely on the instruction of perfection of wisdom. If you rely on the perfection of wisdom meditation, you always remember emptiness. Everything is not quite what they seem. So therefore, you need to remember this emptiness. So we will talk about the benefit of practicing perfection wisdom, which awareness, either by using single ah, mentally saying it ah, or verbally saying ah, or whisperingly, or just saying soft ah becoming louder, or loud ah becoming softer, or whichever way you try to say the ah. Ah means no. The Sanskrit word ah is anatma. That's meaning no self. Anitya means not permanent. And there's no sukha. Asukha means there's no real pleasure, happiness. So because of that, there's no truly existing happiness, no truly existing self, and so on. Nothing is permanent. So anitya, anatma, all start with ah. So word ah means no. You're pulling the brake to prevent yourself from grasping onto appearance as true. You say, oh no. Oh no again, no again, don't go there. This is not truly, it doesn't exist. Monkey tried to dive into the pond to save the moon, And the other monkey didn't say, oh no. They said, I'll help you, I'll hold your tail. Another one said, I hold your tail. And now all the 500 monkeys hold on each other's tail, and the first monkey went down in the water to rescue the moon. And the last monkey was holding onto the branch of the tree. You know what happened? The tree branch broke, and all of them nearly drowned in the water because nobody said no. If one of the monkey, which no monkeys do, said, oh no, there is no moon, it's just a reflection. You should do this perfection of it. To your feelings. To your perceptions. To your volition. To your visual consciousness. And then you no need to react. So that's how you practice perfection wisdom. This is why I see pertinent for people to understand Heart Sutra, and when we talk about the single arm meditation next Saturday. Then we will show you how you can use the single arm meditation in conjunction with the Heart Sutra. And so therefore, when it says how should you, the instruction to practice perfection wisdom. So therefore, they should depend on and abide in the perfection wisdom. Why should they? What is the benefit? Because their mind is without obstruction. Then your mind will not have any of the obstruction, thinking they are real and permanent. They are without fear. They don't fear death because there is no death. There's only death if you're grasping to the body. Because there is no grasping to the body, there's no fear. Having completely passed beyond all error, they go to the completion nirvana. So therefore, perfection of wisdom, is the benefit of meditating on perfection of wisdom is that you have no fear. No fear of death, no fear of premature death, no fear of losing, because you will. Even those things you lose is nothing yours. It's just illusion, it's yours. Yeah? And so because of that, your mind is completely beyond all error and go to the completion of nirvana. Nirvana. Then the third point is, why is this so important? That this is the mother of all the past, present, and future Buddhas. And that's why it says, all Buddhas who abide in the three times, means all Buddhas who came in the past, like Kanaka Muni, Kashyapa, Kakuchanda, and the present Buddha Shakyamuni, and future Buddha Maitreya, and so on, all of them will depend on this meditation. Probably saying, or it's just a smile, or it's a grin. And then they stop grasping, stop seeing, stop feeling, and no contact, and so on. So then you are really reading Heart Sutra. You don't need to read the whole Heart Sutra, even 21 verses, 25. You just say, This is why I think the is the most profound sound and the mantra. All Buddhas who abide in the three, having relied upon this very meditation on perfect wisdom, became manifestly perfect Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. So therefore, this means that all the past, present, future Buddhas are each and every one, not a single one, without any exception, all of them attain Buddhahood through meditating on the perfection of wisdom. And this is the only and sole path that brings the Buddhahood possible to everyone. Therefore, one needs to learn to persevere to do the meditation on the perfection of wisdom. So now I will do the reading transmission, oral transmission of the Heart Sutra, and you can do the practice of perfection wisdom, can't you? Meditate on the very understanding. I may have done a very feeble job, but at least to my little mind, I have something to reflect that is more profound than reading the transmission. So I will do the oral transmission of the Heart Sutra, which is very short. Namo Arya Laya Gedan Ludan Nujinge Drugunda the Me Gananda and Roa Kunjadan and Jeza. Tamje Gudu Dagi Jodun the Jagagidun Bagavadi Prajnaparamita Hidaya Pocket, the Sheraji Paroduchim, Ningbo and the Gedagatuba Dujina Jumden, the Jagoga, Jagobumbar Lagelong again the Jimboda, Janjusim again the Jimboda, Top Chick the Jude. There's a Jumden, Samana, Juyanam, Yiding in the Lanyabajo, so Yan, there's a Janjusamba, Sambo, Papa Genes, Wanju, Sheraji Paro, the Jamba, Samejabanila, number the Jambomanga, the Lion, Tomba number Tao. Then Zanji two, Sedan Demba, Sheribu, Janju Zamba Zamba Jumbo, Papa Genes, Wanjula, and the Kitchen, Rigebo, Gala, Sheraji Paro, the Jamba, Samojaba, Jaban, the Starla Braja, the Kitchen, Mavadan, Janju Zamba Zamba Jumbo, Papa, Janju Zamba Zamba Jumbo, Papa Genes, Wanju, Sedan Demba, Sherida, the Pol, and the Kitchen, Sharibu, Rigebo, Magala, Sheraji Paro, the Samojaba, Jaban, and the number Dara Chade. Pungbonga the Dajaranji, Domba number Yan, Tabrajuzu, Daozu, Domba, Dombani Su, Sule, Dombani Jamai, Dombani Legends, Jemaino, Tejindo, Sarwadan, Dujedan, number Jebanam, Domba, Sheribu, the Dervena, Chotam, Dombanide, Senimeba, Majeba, Magaba, Temameba, Temata, Trawameba, Tewameba, Kawameba, Sharibu Tedavena, Dombanila, Soame, Sorwame, Dujeme, number Hibame, Migme, Nawame, Name, Jeme, Lume, Yime, Zome, Drame, Teme, Rome, Rizame, Chomedo, Migakam, Mebani, Ikami, Igi number 7, come you bother Medo, Maripa, Seba Mebani, Gashimi, gashi sebe pardoya medo te shundu du ngalwa dan kunjungwa dan goba dan lame sheme toba me madoba ya medo shari bo te da vene janjo semba namla toba mebe je shiragi parodo shembala tenjene de semla deba mebe chobo medo Shinjolo le shindu nyanghe lendebe tara chendo tuyusun namba shiba sanje tamche jen shiragi parodo shemba tene lana meba yang taba zobe ngombar zoba sanje so teta wana shiragi parodo shembe nga rikpa shembe nga lana mebe nga minyamba dan nyambra shebe nga mizu dunga tamche rado shiba shebe nga mizu bene dembra shiba chede shiragi parodo shembe nga meba Tadia ta om gade para sang gade bodhi sowa sharipo chanchu samba chimbo tedar sharabji parodo chimbo samola labra chawa dene chumden de dingin zin tele shingde chanchu samba chimbo pakpa chenense wanju la legso she chawa chine rigi po te tishin de chidar kyu yetemba tishin de sharaji parodo chimbo samola chabra chate tishin shikpa damche yisu yirango 좀 된된지 되게 제가다네 세단된 바샤란데 보단 전주 선바 전부 바바제레스 왕주당 탐제단 되면 거라다다 라다 메단 라마인단 저자지변 지대 이런 좀 된된지 송발라 옴바라도 So that concludes the oral transmission of the Heart Sutra itself. Now I will also do the oral transmission of the Dokpa. In Tibetan we call Dokpa, which is the repelling the obstacles, which will be covered in the last section of the teachings also. So for that I will do that reading. Namo lama la janzalo zanjela janzalo shula janzalo gendula janzalo yimchima shiraji parado chimbala janzalo. Ajajenala chanzawala dina dazaga dembe tsinda da Rinpoche sarang lai angba jejinji yimchima shiraji parodo chima dosam ila sabi tsikadun jive tuta nubala den chendoba dejinda daga yimchima shiraji parodo chima dosam ila sabi tsikadun jive nubala den doba mebraji yivaraji rabdu shivaraji tabdan jabdan tabada tikchenga varanchung wala zobe chanju drupala chidan nangiz pardo java damjega nyevaraji vanzado So that concludes the oral transmission of both the Heart Sutra as well as the Dokpa, which is repelling the obstacle. So now we come back to the last bit of the teaching, how the perfection wisdom, that 25 verse long, can be practiced as a mantra. You can practice the Heart Sutra and perfection wisdom, entire corpus of the perfection wisdom as inseparable nature of that in form of mantra. And so for this we talk about the greatness of the perfection wisdom and how it can be practiced as a short mantra, and then the instruction to practice just that. So the Heart Sutra says, therefore means that having discussed the importance, how all past and present and future Buddhas have and will and are depending on the perfection wisdom, you should also always try to switch your mind on the inside of saying there is nothing that is truly real and permanent or truly existing, let alone self. They all appear, but they don't really exist as they appear. See them as illusion and so on. So if you are able to depend on, then how can you depend on? Do you have to read the whole Heart Sutra, or is there any succinct way you can do the practice? Yes, there is. Therefore, you can practice the Heart Sutra as a mantra. And how? What is the mantra of? Therefore, mantra of perfection wisdom is mantra of great knowledge. Yeah, just knowledge of the mantra. Vidya mantra is the knowledge of mantra. Is the knowledge is the mantra. If you don't know the meaning of the mantra, even just mere chattering of the mantra got no knowledge, no power. But if you know the meaning of the Heart Sutra, that is the knowledge mantra. Why? It is the mantra of great knowledge. Rikpa Chempo Nga in Tibetan. It's the great knowledge. The knowledge is so powerful, but this is not referring to knowledge. This refers to the wisdom. This is the wisdom. This is the mantra of wisdom. And then it says it's unsurpassed mantra. This mantra, which is the knowledge, which is the wisdom, the wisdom of emptiness is unsurpassable mantra. You may recite other mantra millions times, but you just remember emptiness is more unsurpassable. It's much greater to have this knowledge mantra than the word mantra. So when I list these 5 types of mantra, great knowledge mantra, unsurpassed mantra, mantra equal to the unequal, mantra that thoroughly pacify all sufferings. So these 4 or 5 rather correspond to the 5 paths we were referring to. Path of accumulation, path of preparation, all the way to path of normal learning. So when it says that when you understand because all paths of and present and future Buddhas will depend on perfection, wisdom, and meditation, they all resorted to this knowledge. But don't they have to do some profound practices? No. If you understand the meaning of the mother of the perfection wisdom, that is the great knowledge mantra. Because meaning of the mantra comes from the word mano tara. In Sanskrit language, you have what we call euphonic combination. Mano and tara become mantra. Yeah? Mano means mind, tara means to protect. So it's mental protection. Is the protection of the mind from the wrong conception, thinking they are real and permanent and true. Because we know the mantra, not impermanent, not permanent, anitya, not self, anatma. So we use these knowledge mantras. Knowledge mantra doesn't need to be said mantras. You just have to be aware they are impermanent, they're not truly existing, and so on. So therefore, the knowledge mantra is the great mantra. Because your mind is protected from wrong conception. And what protects your mind from wrong conception? Perfection of the wisdom. Wisdom knowing the lack of inherent existence. Thus you are not grasping to form, sign and symbols as truly existing, name, object as truly existing. Because it is devoid of the ignorance of dualism and dualistic dichotomy of duality, dichotomy of good and bad, gain and loss, beauty and ugliness, victory and a defeat. All these, because there is no dualistic conception in the mind, this is a great mantra of knowledge. Mantra of knowledge. And since there is no great path higher than the perfection of wisdom, or more excellent than perfection of wisdom, it is unsurpassable. Yeah, it is unsurpassable mantra. And if you understand the meaning, realize the meaning of the perfection wisdom, it becomes the perfect renunciation and attainment. Because of that, it is the mantra that equal to the unequaled. There is no mantra that can match the attainment of this realization. Because of that, it will pacify the law of cause and effect and suffering and its causes, all become completely pacified. Therefore, that is the mantra that thoroughly pacify all sufferings. So in this way, it says, because it is not false, means because this knowledge is not false knowledge. We have a lot of knowledge, but they're incorrect and false and unreliable knowledge. People think if you have this, you'll be happy, but then we realize even you have that, you never were happy. But if you were told, if you realize perfection wisdom, it will free you from suffering because you will not grasp impermanent things as permanent, unsatisfactory things as satisfactory, no self, the body as self. You will not do that. So these are correct knowledge. Because it is correct knowledge, it will not deceive you. It will not deceive you because it is not false. Yeah, because it is not false, it is the truth. It says because it is not false, it should be known as the truth. So the Heart Sutra is the heart of the truth. And then what is the actual mantra? And the actual mantra is the mantra of perfection wisdom is proclaimed. So mantra of perfection wisdom is proclaimed by who? By Avalokiteshvara. What is the mantra? Tadyatha. Now the mantra is actually the synthesis of the code of perfection wisdom. The whole 25 verse long or 8,000 verse long are all coded into this 5-part mantra. And this 5-part mantra consists of the Tadyatha. Tadyatha is not the actual part of the mantra. Tadyatha comes at the beginning of every mantra. Tadyatha means it is das. So what is das? The perfection of wisdom mantra is das. So actual mantra constitutes of the Om. The Om is has an 8 sort of meaning, but here it will be meaning of auspiciousness, of gaining enlightenment. Then you have gate, gate, gate twice. The Sanskrit word gate, some Tibetan texts like this commentary translates as go, go as imperative. That's wrong. I must tell to our venerable author. It's actually past participle. It's not imperative go, go, but it means gone, gone. So gate means gone. First gate is part of accumulation. Second gate is part of preparation. So first gate means the person who has not entered into the path, then entered into the path, has now left from non-path to path of accumulation. That's the first gate. Second gate is one who is on the path of accumulation, leaves the path of accumulation to path of preparation. That's the second gate, path of preparation. Third is paragate. Paragate means thoroughly or perfectly gone. Word para is the adverb of manner. Perfectly or thoroughly, and gate is gone. Thoroughly gone refers to meaning that from the path of preparation one has gone to path of seeing. That is thoroughly gone, because that one has actually departed from the samsaric ordinary level to the path of exalted bodhisattvas, so path of seeing. So third one, paragate, is that. Then the fourth one, parasangate. Here para and sang both are double intensifier. So you have para is thoroughly, and sang is also second intensifier. So thoroughly, thoroughly, double thoroughly, gate, gone. So that means perfectly and thoroughly gone means from path of seeing to path of meditation. So that's the fourth path, path of seeing, path of seeing to path of meditation. Then word bodhi, bodhi means enlightenment, means ultimate knowing. No, bodhi means to know. No, bodhi means, and bodhi means enlightenment. Swaha means be firm, or so be it, or amen, you might translate. So may the realization of the enlightenment be firmly be firmly established. Firmly established. So that's really the meaning of the mantra. And so that's the actual meaning. The greatness of the mantra, the actual mantra. And then the third is the instruction to practice the mantra. Shariputra, again Avalokiteshvara says, Shariputra, again calls the attention of Shariputra, India. A bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom in that way. So having explained what mantra is, one should now, a bodhisattva should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, profound perfection of wisdom, by learning to recite the mantra. Because when you know the meaning of the perfection of wisdom is coded in this profound mantra, they too should resort to the reading and reflecting on the meaning of perfection of wisdom, because to achieve Buddhahood you need to resort to both method and wisdom. And perfection of wisdom is the wisdom, and method is the is a skillful method of secret mantra. Secret mantra. So secret mantra in this case is Tadyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangadi Bodhi Soha. And when we talk on Saturday next week, I'm going to say that secret skillful method is A. Even the Gate Gate Paragate Parasangadi Bodhi Soha is synthesized into the A. So that's why it is so pertinent to get the teaching on Perfection of Wisdom Heart Sutra before you learn to do the single meditation. So that concludes the instruction to practice. Now that concludes the teaching that is caused by the profound blessings of the Buddha, which caused the dialogue between Avalokiteshvara and what we call and Shariputra. So then things go quiet. Things go quiet. Then the Blessed One, what happened is, then the Blessed One arose. So now, here comes the Buddha going to say some words. Teaching spoken by Buddha. Previously, teaching was caused by Buddha's blessing. Didn't say a word. Buddha was sitting quietly in deep, profound, illuminated meditation while the conversation took place between Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra. And that's most of the time the nature of the Sutra. Sutra means discourses. Even in the Theravadan Sutras, often someone would ask a question, sometimes Buddha would answer, otherwise sometimes Buddha would ask one of his disciples to give the answer. And then Buddha would nod at the end, and so. Therefore, Buddha often transmit the blessings to someone to give the answer, and then in the end, then he himself gives a kind of vote and approval of that. So that's why we are talking about here, teaching spoken by the Buddha. How does the Buddha spoke the teaching if he was still meditating? Yeah, he was still teaching while meditating. Buddha doesn't have to always speak when he's teaching. Buddha's just being there is teaching. But if he did speak, we will notice the difference. Yeah, that he was teaching, but he still started to teach by teaching. So he rising from the meditative concentration, and that's why I said, then the Blessed One arose from the Samadhi and said to the Bodhisattva. And then Shakyamuni Buddha spoke to Avalokiteshvara. The Bodhisattva, the great being, the superior Avalokiteshvara, and all that are gathered there, the Bodhisattva, the great being, and superior Avalokiteshvara. Well done, well done, well done. So he says, sadhu, 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 even Buddha saying sadhu, that's amazing, really. I mean, usually Buddha gives teachings, everybody goes sadhu and bowing down. So people didn't invent the sadhu. They saw the Buddha doing sadhu, and then sadhu means well done, well done. In the West, you cheer up, they put a ball into the goal, they cheer up. So it's interesting, preoccupation. Anyway, so here, Shakyamuni Buddha arise from the meditative concentration and then speak to great Bodhisattva, Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, and he says, the sadhu, sadhu, and just as you have taught, people should practice perfection of wisdom. So that means Buddha rose from the samadhi of the profound illumination and said sadhu. And first one is he's giving approval to the questions and answers, And the second one is the meaning and that they can entail. So he's not only approving the question and answers and also the meaning. And then he's approving that this exactly is the answer that I too would have given, the third sadhu. So there are three sadhus Buddha is giving. So that's called teaching spoken by Buddha. Well done, well done, well done. And the second is the giving the seal of approval. The seal of approval is that then it says, one of good lineage. It is just so, so that you are now belonging to the good lineage who understand these teachings and comprehend the meanings, one who know how to ask questions, one who know how to answer them. And Shariputra asked only one question. How should one meditate on the five? And the Avalokitesha gave this whole series of teaching in sequence according to the actual and concordant to the different stages of the 5 paths and 10 bhumis. He gave all of this. And hence Buddha is giving the approval by saying, oh, one of good lineage. That is talking to all the audience. It is just so. So I mean, just as much as you have spoken about each of the 4 profound valid cognition, 8 profound realization, and 7 liberations, and the fact that perfection wisdom was the meditative state, that perfection wisdom is the very teaching that all past, present, future Buddhas have relied upon, will rely in the future, and are relying on now, and that they all then give instruction to practice the perfection wisdom by reciting the mantra, how it is excels, it is the highest form of mantra, great mantra, unequaled mantra, you know, and there will pacify also. All of this what you have said so far is exactly they are, just so. One of good lineage, it is like that. He's repeating. This is reiteration. The profound perfection wisdom should be practiced just as you, the great Mahabodhisattva Avalokitesha, you have taught it in response to Shariputra's pertinent question. Even Tathagatas, even all the enlightened ones would have not done any different but rejoice your fantastic advice and reply to this question. So what does this mean? Is this now? This is the third one. Buddha, the teaching is now endorsed by the Buddha. First is blessed by Buddha. Second is spoken by himself. Third is Buddha gives full approval of what the teaching is all about. So that actually concludes the main part of the teaching. Then the concluding part of the Heart Sutra is then what happened is that the concluding part is after Buddha has spoken, then he rises from the meditation and he gives a seal of approval, and he has also given the permission. And then he says, oh, blessed one having so spoken. I mean, if blessed Shakyamuni Buddha has spoken the 3 sadhus and so on, the Venerable Shariputra, the one who did get up and ask the question, and Bodhisattva Avalokita, who answered all the meticulous answer, Superior Avalokita, and all that are gathered there. So those who are gathered there are 5,000 or more Arhats, as well as many Bodhisattvas dwelling on that. So all the world, gods, humans, demigods, all will fill with admiration, praise the words of Buddha. So this is talking about how all of them gladly rejoice from listening to the teachings, and all those gathered there, all the sanghas, all the 4 members of the sangha, fully ordained monk, fully ordained nun, layman and laywoman on a conventional level, as well as those arhats and bodhisattvas, as well as a god from the desire realm. And I don't know whether there's forms, others come from form realm. You can't tell whether there's anyone from formless realm because they are not visible. And anyway, humans, gods, demigods, Gandharvas, all of the they are who are present there. So now we are coming to the third part, which is essential practice of how to do the repelling of the obstacles. So the repelling obstacles are what we have at the bottom of the Heart Sutra. Usually, sometimes they don't do the repelling obstacle, time doesn't permit. Other times they don't do the whole Heart Sutra, but they recite the Gate Gate Paragate mantra maybe 21 times, and then do the repelling of the obstacle. So how do you do this? We will skip the thing on the triple meditative concentration on emptiness, silence, and wishlessness, because the time will not permit. And this is because this commentator only gives a little bit of there, and I don't think our time will permit for me to go on that if I were going to explain the repelling of obstacle a little bit in detail, which is the request here. Because we have so many obstacles in life, we should now learn to do the doing the repelling of obstacles. Because you have a lot of obstacles, even though there's no obstacles, but people see there's truly existing obstacles. So you have to learn how to repel the obstacles by learning to do the mantra of Tadyatha Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. Either you recite the Heart Sutra all together, or just recite that Tadyatha Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. You recite the mantra 21 times, or even just 3 will do. And for this, one needs to know that all obstacles are non-duality of appearance and emptiness. But because we do not still have the good comprehension of knowing them to be so, we still resent the obstacles. We resent the ill will of others. We resent our illness. We resent our sadness. We resent our failure or our not being able to do this. We resent our feelings towards others. We resent other people, hate us. We all have this still a lot of trauma, still a lot of stories that we do not see the emptiness of it. And that is the obstacle. We cannot see emptiness as mind, mind is emptiness. We can see form is form, form is form, it is true. And the person is constantly struggling. They say, it keep happening to me, what should we do? You know? So because they have stuck in this resentment towards somebody, or wrongdoing of somebody, that one still could not forgive the other, or see its emptiness, or even feel compassion. One still just feel it shouldn't have happened, and the problem is it did. So this is the obstacle. So now, the repelling obstacle means that one needs to now use the Heart Sutra, perfection wisdom, swear by the name of perfection wisdom, and then repel the obstacle through these what we call contrived. It's called the contrived practice of repelling obstacle. Contrived. But those people who don't see the obstacles truly existing, they don't need to clap their hands, you know. And they don't need to do the repelling obstacles. But I wouldn't be surprised if you really wouldn't mind clapping your damn hands 3 times and feel really good. And that's, if you clap hand in Tibetan Buddhism means you're repelling the obstacles. So what should you do? You swear by the understanding of perfection wisdom. It says here, Namo means I pay homage. I pay homage to the master, means the spiritual master, all the enlightened teachers. And I pay homage to Buddha, I pay homage to Dharma, I pay homage to Sangha, I pay homage to the Blessed Mother, Perfection Wisdom. So you're swearing by the name of the Guru, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and the Yidam. So Yidam in this case is the perfection wisdom, Prajnaparamita. What is the Yidam? That's wisdom, okay? Wisdom of ultimate view is the real deity. But sometimes people need that ultimate view deity as a visible goddess. So if you have the goddess Prajnaparamita, that's why some people really like to deify their wisdom as a goddess. So they want to have a nice picture of the goddess Prajnaparamita. So that's why we are doing the empowerment on Sunday next week. Some of you may have already attended on the other day, but those you haven't done so, and you want to do it again for that matter, you're most welcome to attend the empowerment. So you're swearing by the name of the 5, Guru, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and Yidam, by the power of paying homage to you all. So this is summarizing. So you're swearing, by the virtue of me paying homage to you, may our words of truth triumph. So may everything what I say become a powerful spell to make them true. Why? Because this teaching repelling obstacle was taught by Buddha to king of the gods Shakra. The Shakra had this strong kind of a projection, as he had a lot of obstacles in life, and all the demigods were waging war to him. And so he had a lot of casualties. And he's not winning, but he suffered a lot of casualties in his mind. You know? He came to the Buddha, how should he become victorious in the enemy and not having to fight the war. And Buddha told him to do this meditation on the Heart Sutra mantra and do the repelling obstacles. So it says, just as long ago, Shakra means giver of the 100 boons. Shakra means giver of 100. Sha comes from 100. Kra means giver of 100 boons. He is a very powerful God. Through the power of meditating on the profound meaning of the perfection wisdom and reciting the words of the Blessed Mother of Perfection Wisdom, just like the Tadyatha, Gate Gate, Paragate, Parasangate, Bodhisoha, successfully repel all the demonic obstacles. He had all these kind of various kinds of obstacles, the four maras, and evil being and the like. In the same way, I too will meditate on the perfection of wisdom, and maybe also through the power of meditating on the profound meaning and reciting the words of the Blessed Mother, perfection of wisdom, and then able to repel. So you clap your hand by saying, wherever it says clap, repel, all obstacles. Obstacles are external, internal, and secret obstacles. Dispel or repel all the obstacles, the disharmonious factors in your life. May they be annihilated. Second, may they all be pacified. So you clap the hand 3 times. So what should you do during that recitation is, imagine that your right hand is the sun, your left hand is the moon. Everything under the sun and moon, you have gone through and witnessed and suffered and couldn't handle them very well. Whoever causes suffering due to causes of condition, largely due to ignorance and mental formation and so on, whatever harm caused to the general doctrine of the Buddha Dharma, to all harm and violence in the world, may all the harm and violence and pestilence and all these difficulties in the world, as well as my guru and us yogi practitioners may face a lot of obstacles, hindrances, and some people out of hatred, some people out of vengeance, out of ill will, whatever malice and evil they have towards me do not truly exist as it appears to me. They are all empty. But just in case there are some things that I haven't realized them to be empty, but due to my compassion, may those obstacles be repelled so that neither them nor me or nor any sentient being suffer due to these wrong views that we are all suffering. What a pity. With this in mind, with great compassion, you clap your hands. The clapping is both sun and moon now clapping. Your right hand is sun, left hand moon. Everything in the solar system become smashed. And body becomes smashed, completely pulverized, and nothing left, like a little snail under your car tire, You can't see nothing. Like that, imagine that all problems become completely squashed, and their body becomes squashed. They could not do any harm. Verbally, they become completely speechless. They lost their voice, become paralyzed. Physically, they become paralyzed. Verbally, they do not know how to say each other. These are symbolic one. You're not aiming specifically against any one person. This is just general obstacle the world face due to the wrong views. With great compassion, and then the consciousness of the individual evil spirits are all liberated. So with this in mind, you out of great compassion, out of compassion for all parties, for not being able to see the impermanence and emptiness and not truly existing, but grasping at them with a lot of ill will and vengeance, you feel mutually compassion to all sentient beings, and then do the clapping of the hands where it says clap. So you do that at the end of recitation of the Heart Sutra. So that is the repelling the obstacles. And you need to meditate on the emptiness, okay? You don't do it with a vengeance. You don't do it as someone you really want to harm them. This is not going to help. It's only going to bounce back. So ill will does not repel obstacles. The right view does. With the right view of lack of inherent existence, but because deluded sentient beings fail to know the lack of inherent existence, they fail to see impermanence of it, they're still stuck in the past, and they still think it's them or him or his doing, and they therefore just traumatized by this wrong view. Alas, how can I liberate all beings from this wrong view? May all these wrong views be pulverized and taken out like a surgery, removing the illness, throw in the deep big bucket. And then when the surgery is finished, person's completely recovered. Yeah, it's a repel all the obstacles through the surgery. So we also meditate on emptiness and then swear by the name of the Goddess Perfection Wisdom and clap their hands. So that is the what we call the contrived practice of repelling obstacles by with the use of recitation of the Heart Sutra. This is very common. Most practitioners do this every day. Because what is this? Even though you may not have ill will or resentment towards somebody, but someone do, you know. And you sort of feel it. Oh gosh, he still hates me. Or he still hates his mother. What a pity. And it's just, you feel so sad for both, you know. And you can't stay there, ignore them, that's their problem. And these are just misconceptions of all those two. And so you therefore meditate on this with great compassion, and then do the repelling obstacles. So repelling obstacles has to be done with great compassion. If you don't have great compassion, it is not easy to help any sentient being. Yeah, any sentient being, let alone yourself. So so that's the conclusion of the repelling of the obstacles. I was saying briefly, that I'll skip, but maybe I have time to go over the triple meditative concentration. Triple meditative concentration is a very scholarly, I would say, commentary by our author Mudra Palmber. This triple meditative concentration refers to the triple emptiness meditative concentration, signless meditative concentration, and wishlessness meditative concentration. These are traditionally called three thorough doors of liberation. Three thorough doors of liberation is often symbolized by our triangle. The triangle is called symbol of womb. That's the mother who gives birth. The womb is a shape of a womb is a triangle, you know, thereabout. And the three corners of the womb, three corners of the triangle symbolize emptiness, signlessness, wishlessness. We will give birth by the mother who understands emptiness, signlessness, wishlessness. So, briefly speaking, what does this mean? Is that in the meditative concentration of the three dhyana, triple concentration, not only during the meditative concentration and post-meditative concentration, they will carry both in meditative concentration and outside meditative concentration. During the inside the meditative concentration, for he sees he has the meditative concentration of emptiness. Whatever is empty of meditative concentration, emptiness meditative concentration, it is signlessness of meditative concentration. Whatever is signless is also wishless meditative concentration. How come? The first is the emptiness meditative concentration. When you subjectively look at the mind, yeah, you could not tell what the nature of the mind is. The only thing that you can tell your mind is it's there, but it is unbounded, vast, infinite, clear, and indescribable.
So that's emptiness, You can, we never say, I'll go and have a look in the sky. Because you never know, nobody go and look in the sky. They go and look in the mountain or valley or in the water or something. Nobody go. So people don't say, I saw sky today. No. Why? Because they don't say empty sky is something they saw, because it's so vast, so infinite. So like that, so one who understands the nature of the mind, sees the mind is like the sky emptiness. So that is, the mind is like the space. Because of the mind is vast and clear, luminous like the space, means the sky never born, never abides, never disappears. Likewise, our mind also has never arise, never abide, no subside. So therefore, it's like the birthless, abidingless, and cessationless, ceaseless nature of the mind. So that is the emptiness nature. So that's why when you say, you always meditate on emptiness aspect of the meditation. Second is signlessness. Signlessness is signless meditative concentration is because the mind is empty, an empty nature. You cannot say, I saw the mind is yellow, red, tall, fat, short, young, old. It doesn't have any sign that you can tell that I saw the mind. Because of that, you cannot meditate on the sign of the meditation. But when we meditate in the form of deity, it's not signless, it is with a sign. We meditate on the sign of the mind, deity in the form, in order to realize signlessness of the deity, signlessness of deity. So with this in mind, you try to meditate on the signlessness of the conduct of the mind that is totally uncontrived. Because the mind is signless as well as emptiness, because when you look at the cup, you can say, this is a medium-sized cup, or you can say, this cup lid is light. You can say that, but you can never say the mind is old or medium or small. Or, can I have a small to medium mind, please? You can say, can I have a regular coffee? You can go regular coffee, but you can't say, can I have a large mind? You can't size the mind. So the mind is signlessness. And so the emptiness of the mind is the ground. Signlessness of the mind is the path, okay? Then wishlessness is the result. Because the mind has nothing to aspire to gain, nothing to lose, and it is unthinkable, it is inexpressible, it is beyond imagination. The concept of Buddhahood is not pointable to this, and the concept of samsara is not to be pointable. All of neither is there some Buddhahood to be attainable, as you don't need to aspire Buddhahood, nor aspire there. Neither aspiration, nor aspired, nor act of aspiring, nor the individual who aspires. So therefore is this wishlessness. So when you understand emptiness, you're never disappointed. Because you have no expectation. You have no great desires or wish, So because you're always abiding in the state of emptiness of self, and because of that, you are not wishing him to do this, her to do this to become that. You don't have any fixed wishes. So because of that, there is no craver, no craving, no act of craving. So because of that, there is no one who is, no one who says I am, no one who sees I'm in samsara, no is the faller, no is falling, no where the falling place is. Because of there is no suffering, there is no origin, and therefore when there is no suffering, and then of course there no need to, no wish to edit it. You don't have to have wish to eradicate suffering that doesn't exist. So I don't know what the people trying so hard for. There is no surfing. Even surfing don't exist. So what is your aspiration? You should say, nothing, my dear. Very good. That's a real Vajrayana, very, very perfection wisdom answer. What do you seek? What do you aim to get from this meeting? Nothing. Very good. So you say, you know. Only if you can say, that will achieve all the things without wanting to. So there is no path, no aspiration to achieve the path. In short, all phenomena is the mere self-reflection of the mind itself. Therefore, all external contrivances and doubts or fabrication are naturally calmed and pacified. The subjective mind itself, when you look at where it is, itself is not to be found yellow, red, old, young, male, female, this, that, father, student. There's nothing there. So you understand the subjective emptiness of the mind, so you nor have any contrivances from within. So to emptiness cannot be seen. You can't say, I saw emptiness. And I tell you, you should also realize, I realize emptiness. If you do, you have failed. You have failed, you know. You know, quite a few students I heard in some places, I don't know, it's not in Zambudipa, but somewhere else, they have realized emptiness. So that's the problem. You don't say, I realize emptiness, because there is no self. How could you say, I realize emptiness? So there's nothing to be gained, because no aspiration. You completely, it's a transcendent, it's a beyond word, it's inexpressible. You can't say there is cloud in the sky. You can say for a while, but when you look at it, it's not there. So the moment you said there is clouds, but afterwards you said there is no cloud. So are you going to make any attempt to say there is cloud? You know, there is no cloud. Came from where, abiding where, and goes to somewhere. There is no such things. So with this in mind, one needs to understand the essential profound practice in these things. So these three essential practice of the triple thorough doors of liberation is very important, mostly in a meditative concentration. So when you do deity yogas, there's a lot of that suggestion. First, everything is empty. Everything is empty, but we don't know it is empty. We think it's truly. So because you can't cope well with emptiness, we give you substitute. And to meditate on a flower or the moon and the deity or whatever. Once you're starting to have this form, that the form is emptiness. Form of deity is emptiness, and emptiness is signlessness. Because if the deity is empty, there's no sign. Yeah? And because it's a signlessness, and then there is this wishlessness. You're not seeking to attain enlightenment. So this is a little bit of kind of a quintessential point of this teaching on the Heart Sutra. So here I'm going to summarize everyone, and not that I have done a great job explaining everything, but those of you who are very keen to follow this teaching on Heart Sutra, then there's even more simpler way to practice Heart Sutra in relation to the in the single hour meditation. So that's the subject of our next Saturday's teaching. And of course, having heard the Heart Sutra teachings already will be greatly boost you to know the meaning of single hour meditation. Single hour meditation is very, very simple, because you simply have to think or say or hum or imagine and then, but your cognitively lustrous mind being able to then reject the wrong views and then stay in that state of mind. So we will be able to cover that. And then, of course, the Goddess Prajnaparamita meditation, the empowerment on Sunday night, is then how can you use the single R and perfection wisdom meditation in the form of a deity. And that's the single, the Goddess Prajnaparamita meditation. So with this, we have concluded. Thank you for your very great attention and interest in listening to this teaching. I can see the number of people who have been attending is very huge, and I'm glad that people recognize the importance of the teaching on the Heart Sutra and the perfection of wisdom, because for the Mahayanist for whom the reciting Heart Sutra or having the Heart Sutra written on a paper or on the wall or on the curtain or engraved in the rock is so important, but these are just cultural Buddhism. We need to engrave the meaning of the Heart Sutra in your everyday consciousness, so that when we see something people do, we do not think it's him. Form is emptiness, remember? So emptiness, and because if you see a form, there's a sign. That sign is caused by your ignorance. Your ignorance mentally mental formation, then your consciousness becomes obscured by the mental formation. When your mental formation is obscuring your consciousness, your sense organs are seized by the perception, isn't it? We become hooked by we are caught by the fisherman. The fisherman wrong view, it catches you, and your senses are caught. You're completely soiled by the senses, and you believe what you saw, or you believe what you heard. They say, he said this to me. I saw him do this. He talked to me like this. And they think really is truly existing. They have no idea how interdependent origination that they don't see the emptiness of it. They don't see the interdependence of it. They see is inherently existing, what he said, what she does, and then they just keep seeing that, have trauma about it, dream about it, and could never change their thought about it and memory about it. And this is the pitiable nature of samsara. They read Heart Sutra, they have Heart Sutra hanging on the wall, they worship the text, but they don't know the meaning. This kind of cultural Buddhism, we have too many. In the 21st century, His Holiness Dalai Lama advocates the importance people study. We have to learn the Dharma. Our real teacher is the knowledge. It says, it's the great knowledge. What is the teacher for? Teacher who doesn't give knowledge. Our real teacher is the enlightened Buddha. There is no second Buddha. The Buddha, Gautam Buddha, fully enlightened Buddha, is the teacher. He is the one who taught this, and we are only repeating this. We are only messengers. And that also is difficult due to linguistic barrier, cultural barrier, and so on. But I think our work through translators, and everybody has done a lot of work to make this message relayed. And of course, these teachings has been all recorded, and I'm sure people who have listening to can access these and compare your note. And of course, in subsequent sessions sometime in the future, we will be able to have some Q&A during which some of the questions, if you have, may be addressed. But main thing is you need to learn how to implement this practice that will be taught in the instructions how to do the single arm meditation next week, and followed by the empowerment of the Prajnaparamita, and then the text of perfection wisdom, that is Heart Sutra, which is the ultimate view of the knowledge of the perfection wisdom deity. So text become deity, knowledge become deity, syllable become deity, mantra become deity, that then some deify all of the above in the form of Mother Goddess Perfection Wisdom. We all need wall hangings. So it's good to have the perfection wisdom hanging on the wall. And it's not a pretty face, but it's actually saying all things are not quite they seem. It really helps you, because often we don't hesitate. We think it is what we see. We think it is what we hear. We think I am what I think. He is what he does. We do not hesitate what he does. It only is a thought about what he does. Is it really what he does, or is it what I think he does? Very different. Form is empty of what you see. What you see is a total imagination of yourself. When you know the form is a mere imagination of yourself, then you can see the form is emptiness. And so on. So there's a lot of teaching. Of course, it's through my feeble effort. There's not a lot of understanding. But because these are blessed words of the Buddha, through his profound meditation, he blessed Shariputra-like sentient beings, you and me. So therefore, your attention to listen and have a lot of attention and interest in this would show that you have certain karmic kind of stock of merit from past lives to have strong interest to listen to the teaching of the Heart Sutra. You cannot say from today onwards, I read Heart Sutra, but I don't know the meaning because I've never heard the transmission, I've never heard the teachings. Now, by dint of our effort to do this, you have changed that. I remember my colleague and teacher, the late Khenpo Mi'kmaq Tsering, who I invited to Australia in 1998. Few months before he passed away, he gave a whole, weekend teaching, not in 2 sessions, whole weekend teaching, from 9 till 5 on Saturday, 9 to 5 Sunday. He spoke at least about 12 hours. What I've tried to do is into 4 hours. So it's no real justice to that. But Heart Sutra is such a pith, and so this is all we can do. So I would like to thank you all for your attention and even good intention and probably even better knowledge and comprehension. And most importantly, learn to rely on Heart Sutra and perfection wisdom to bring your discipline, meditation, and study all into action. Not just on the cushion, but outside the cushion. When you see something, when you feel something, they say, if you see something, say something. Exactly opposite. If you see something, don't think it is. Don't say anything. Say, if you want to say, it's not what you think. So don't say what you think. So actually, if you see something, knows that it is not what you think it is, let alone say what it is. That is the meaning here. Then you are abstaining from creating karma by illusory manifestations. This is the mantra of great knowledge, for you not to do that. You have the knowledge. You have the power of knowledge. One single unit in Australian university costs $4,000. Can you believe it? Now this is great knowledge. If you can use this in every day, how to prevent you to voice your deluded opinions, whatever you saw, whatever you heard, and then you write comments, say things, and then share in the millions of the world as you're going to benefit sentient beings. No. Look at those careless writers who writing a couple million books could not even dare to go out because what they wrote has become complete cause of their fear, their insecurity. So therefore, in this age of internet and multimedia, we should not say everything what you think and believe everything what you read, because all of these are just illusion, hallucination of deluded mind who have not realized this. This is that mantra that pacifies all sorrows. If you remember these and then not subscribe to them and feel compassion to those who engages in such, that is the mother that weeps, that shed tears for the plight of sentient beings, who childishly cause such mutual suffering and distraction and reaction and overreaction, not knowing how many consequences comes from their own action that they thought had no consequences. We only suffer the consequences of our own imagination, reaction, and action. We don't suffer no consequences of other people's action. If it do, only dependently, never independently of their doing. So therefore, this mantra, this Heart Sutra, Perfection Wisdom, is that will pacify your sorrows. This is like a very amazing bottle of balm to put on, panacea to put as ointment on your shoulder or neck when it hurts. Now apply this medicine of the understanding of the perfection of wisdom. Remember this. Breathe this. Think this. Look into things with this. Listen to a sound from this. Then you will see how profound mantra this is, that matches even those highest mantras. And it is not a long mantra you have to recite. You just have to meditate on this emptiness, signlessness, and wishlessness. So with this we have concluded. Thank you very much, everyone. Of course, it is a little after our time schedule, but thank you very much, everyone who has joined us. We will shortly do dedication merits. So in that case, I will ask everyone to join your hands and the heart to dedicate the merit of these teachings, because this standard dedication merit prayer we will chant is very important to do at the end of any teaching or practice sessions. So you offer the merit to your friends, to the world, to the world that is torn by war and conflict and pestilence and natural disasters, and also our own wrong views. So with this, we made this teaching will become a small breeze that brings a cooling effect to the very heaty suffering of sentient beings. So with this in mind, we do the dedication merit. Please join your hands at the heart and let's do the dedication. O by this mere mewe o varaga da depa menzege homnes me hale pereda be from the ocean of the destined herenda Mahayana Dije whatever merit I have mehobe because the to the Mahayana Dije courage manjushenevode azama tabadradilaiva following all the example I shade dege ode mere Salam Bodhi Jida Teba Eranayaraza. That has been freely with the generation.